You guys ever just feel so tired after a round, and you notice as you get further and further into the round, you're trying to throw some of these shots and they're bad. You feel like you don't have any energy, that you can't throw the shot that you need to. It is so frustrating trying to throw a hyzer and feeling absolutely gassed. Like, I'm wondering if there's another way that I can throw a hyzer with a disc that's not as overstable, because it's just exhausting after a while. I don't know. What do you guys think? Today we're going to talk about how you can throw a hyzer regardless of the stability of your disc. Let's get into it. So first things first, what is hyzer? Well, hyzer is when the outside of the disc is facing the ground or is pointed towards the ground. This is the brand new Mint Discs Lobster. I have a couple of them already. I've really liked throwing it. It's already made its way into the bag. Now, this disc is understable, and yet I can still throw it on hyzer. But just because, we know what hyzer is, that doesn't mean that that is the only way. See, the really cool thing about understable discs is that they're honestly the most fun to manipulate. There is so much that you can do with a disc like this that a lot of people don't even realize. So here are 4 ways that you can throw an understable disc, whether it's the Lobster, a Leopard 3, an Avenger SS, anything, you can throw it on hyzer. The first method is to throw it softly on hyzer angle. If you can't get a disc up to speed, or rather you choose not to get a disc up to speed, it's not going to have its flight characteristics, which means that it's going to dump once it slows down. The next thing is to have a hyzer release with a little bit of nose up. Now, for discs that are just slightly unstable, this is going to make them dump really fast. But a disc like the Avenger SS or the Lobster that's pretty understable, if you throw on hyzer with a little nose up, the disc is going to lift and then fade at the very end, giving you another option for a hyzer angle. The third way is to actually throw the understable disc flat or with a little bit of hyzer, but you put a ton of air under it. This is going to basically get the disc lifted and it's going to drop. And then the fourth way is probably the easiest one, requires the least amount of touch. You take your understable disc and you throw it on extreme hyzer. You don't worry about anything but the hyzer angle, and you just throw it as hard as you can. Now, depending on your power, a disc might still be able to flip up a little bit, but for most people, throwing on a really steep hyzer, you're not going to be able to generate enough power to have it flip up to flat and then turn. So it's a really reliable way to capitalize on the glide of the disc to carry forward because of its understability, but keeping it on hyzer so that you can get it to dump left. Now, the next way that you can throw a hyzer angle is with a neutral disc. So here are 4 ways that you can throw a neutral disc on hyzer. You can do the obvious, throw it on a hyzer angle. You can also throw a hyzer flip. So it's going to be on hyzer, but a little bit less steep than maybe when you're over exaggerating. And you're just going to get it to flip up, and it may turn just a little bit depending on the stability, but in most cases, it'll flip up to flat, go straight, and then come right back. Number 3 is to throw the disc flat, but nose up. And then the final one is to put some air under this. So you throw it up into the air and you just let the disc kind of stall out and finish. Now wait a second here. All of those methods sounded pretty similar. It was like deja vu over here. That sounded pretty similar to how you throw understable discs, and that's okay. Both neutral and understable discs have a lot of the same hyzer characteristics. The way you're going to get one to fly on hyzer is fairly similar to how you'll get the other. The difference may be in how much angle you have to put on it and how high you have to throw it and how much nose angle you have to release it with. Now, the final way to throw a hyzer angle is with an overstable disc. And no surprise here, I'm talking about the Firebird for this example. It doesn't matter whether you're looking at putter, mid-range, fairway driver, distance driver. Everybody loves to throw hyzers with overstable discs. Why? Because it's the easiest way to do it. You really don't have to do a whole lot to get an overstable disc to hyzer. I mean, it's literally designed to do that. But like we talked about earlier, sometimes it's a lot harder to throw an overstable disc the distance you need it to carry and to get it to hyzer. Now you know it's going to hyzer, but you need to get it to hyzer at the right time. And so that's why we've talked about throwing hyzers with different stabilities. Because whereas an overstable disc like the Firebird might fade a little too soon, the Crave will continue to carry and then fade at just the right time. So it's important that you learn how to do this with a bunch of different discs. This is a very technical skill and one that's going to take time to develop, especially if you're working on other things like form and mechanics. But learning how to throw hyzer with a bunch of different stabilities is super helpful. Well, that's basically it. That is how you throw every type of stability on a hyzer angle. I hope this information was helpful to you guys and that you learned something new that you can apply out to the field and course. Like I mentioned, it's going to take some time learning these skills, especially if you're brand new to working on them or brand new to disc golf. So be patient with yourself, have fun with it, kind of make it a game with some landing zones out in the field to kind of help you hit your targets a little bit better. But that's basically it, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, have a great round.